450 ml of lukewarm water. Add that onto the bowl. Add quarter cup of sugar onto there. Add your 10-gram yeast or 2.5 teaspoon of dry yeast onto there. Stir that in, making sure that everything is combined. We are going to let this one sit for a couple of minutes, which is going to raise a bit or ferment a little bit. We are making sweet rolls, yes. And then add your baker's mix onto the bowl just to soften them up, and then you're going to set this aside. It makes them juicy instead of when you put them dry like that. It makes them somewhat juicy, like it's like you are soaking them when you put them into the milk and yeast mixture. Cover that with a cloth and then let it sit for a couple of minutes. While that is going, this is how it looks after being there for 5 to 10 minutes. It depends on you, on how much you've let it sit. While that was going, I measured 4 cups of bread flour. Yes, anything that has to do with bread, if it's not the sweet stuff, I use bread flour. So I added about 2 eggs onto there, and I also added 100 gram of melted butter, and then I dissolved about 1.25 teaspoon of Himalayan salt. The reason I need 1 teaspoon actually, but the salt never really dissolves completely, so I always add 1.25 teaspoon of the salt, and then I mix everything, making sure that everything is well combined. I'm done mixing the dough, so I'm going to cover it with a dishcloth, let it sit, and then sorry, I let it sit for 2 hours, and this is how it came out. And I normally just put a little bit of flour into a ramekin, and then that is going to be the flour that I use to sprinkle onto the surface and onto the dough itself. So it was not that hot, so I did get away with letting it sit on the counter for 2 hours. Just yesterday or day before yesterday, I made bagels, and then the dough overproofed. Yo, it looks like I don't even know how to make bagels anymore, the way they came out so horribly. So on this day, I was so grateful that it wasn't that hot, so I was able to let it sit on the counter for 2 hours, and then sprinkle the flour onto the surface, then knead it for 10 minutes up until it is soft, up until it's smooth. As you can see, the gluten has developed and it's not sticking onto the surface. It's almost where I want it to be. So I'm going to knead it for 10 minutes and then let it prove again before I start shaping it. It has now doubled in size once again, and it's ready to be shaped. I'm first going to transfer it onto the counter. As you can see how beautiful that is. I was scraping everything from the bowl, and then I went ahead and cut it in half, equal sizes, and I put one half on the side, and then I'm going to work with another half, which is I'm going to be shaping it into rolls that we will later bake. This is how they look after being shaped. I'm going to let them sit in the on the counter for another 30 minutes so that they can prove or double in size before I can even put them in an oven. That's how they look after they have risen or proved, and this is how they look from being baked for 30 minutes at 180 degrees, and I applied a little bit of melted butter on top, and that's it. And it looks very yummy. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on my next upload.